How's it going, everybody? My name is John. I'm here with Patrick BMW, part of the Patrick Dealer Group in Schaumburg, Illinois, and today we are going to be talking iDrive 9. We're going to be going through a full walkthrough of all of the features in here, so let's do it. Alright, iDrive 9. Now, this is currently found in the BMW X1 and X2. I'm currently sitting in a 2025 BMW X2. It's beautiful in here. Absolutely love this magma red interior. I'm a sucker for red interiors. It's fantastic, but the real star of the show is this new operating system for BMW. One of the big differences with this car is that there is no iDrive dial in the X1 or X2. It's going to be all touchscreen based, so that's going to be a big difference for people coming out of previous BMWs. We're used to spinning a little dial on here. This is going to be all touchscreen based. So they made it a little bit more user friendly for being able to just click on things. They made the screen a little bit closer than in other models also, just so you don't have to reach so far to press and get to what you're looking for. Starting off with the main menu here. Now, this is going to be your home screen. So it's always going to be signified by this little home button at the bottom. When you press that, it's going to bring up this view here. I really like the fact that it's always going to be kind of map centric. I always like having the maps up in my car. Just kind of gives me awareness, and I like being able to see the traffic and things like that around me. Then you'll notice on the left side you have all of these widgets. Now you can kind of scroll through these, and you can also pick and choose what you want on these widgets. If you don't want any of these, you can simply get rid of them. If you want more, you can add those. As for right now, this is a brand new car. It's really never been driven before, so it's got a whole bunch of stuff in here. It's got multiple different kinds of clocks and things like that, the weather, updates on your trip odometers, things like that, music, radio, all that kind of fun stuff. Then on this kind of bottom bar, you're going to notice your heating and air controls. Those are going to be obviously split up for driver and passenger, and it's easy enough to just press the plus or minus on here to raise or lower the temperature. If you want to get any kind of more in-depth for the HVAC features, you're going to click on this little fan down at the bottom, and it's going to bring up your full heating and air controls. So you have a power on and off button, you got your defrosters up at the top, your recirculators, your auto settings, your sync buttons, your fan speed if you just go up and down on the little wheel there, or you can also pick and choose where you want the airflow to be. It's all really cool graphics on here. I like this a lot. Going back to the home menu, again, as simple as pressing that home button. And now you're going to notice to the left of the screen here, you have a couple of icons here. So you got your back button, your media, your telephone, and your nav. Now these were the buttons that used to sit around your BMW iDrive controller, so all of those have just kind of migrated up near the screen since this is all touchscreen based. Going into the main menu here, you can see you just have an absolute ton of stuff in this car. There are just endless amounts of features in these brand new BMWs that it'll almost make your head spin, but good thing about it is no one uses every single feature in these cars, but the more the merrier. If you do really want to use them, it's got them. If you don't, you never have to worry about them again. Of course, this is all of them, but you can kind of sort and filter them by categories. So you have infotainment, your vehicle, your recently used, which is probably what I leave it on most in my car, just because, again, I don't use every single feature in these cars, but it's nice having them. And then the digital premium category, which is all your kind of extra fun stuff, which we'll get to later. But back to everything in here. So you have your BMW ID, which is very important for these cars. Now, this is your driver's profile. So what that does is it's going to link to your BMW Connected app on your phone, and that's going to allow you to save your seats, your mirrors, all of your radio presets. Basically, every customizable setting that you have in these cars, it'll save onto your driver's profile. So no matter what car you get in, you can just upload your BMW ID, and it's going to just bring all your settings and make that car feel like your car. For instance, obviously this is not my car, but I loaded up my BMW ID, and now all of my features are in here. Just fantastic. Next up, we got BMW's personal assistant. Now that is going to be its voice recognition software. You can either press the button on there, or you can press the button on the steering wheel to activate that. It's very easy to use. All you have to do is just talk to it like a regular human. It'll figure out what you're trying to say and do it immediately. It works very, very well, just like Siri on your phone, just BMW's version for that. You can also use Siri in the car also. If you just tap on the voice recognition button on the steering wheel, it's going to bring up the BMW personal assistant. If you hold it down for a couple seconds while you have CarPlay activated, it will bring up Siri, so you can control your phone using the voice activation features also, which is very cool. Now the Connected Drive store, this is going to be for upgrading features later on. Obviously in a brand new car, you're going to get everything, but say in 3 years when the traffic information subscription goes away, you can repurchase that all through here. Makes it very easy for activating new features or features that have expired in your car. Of course, with new cars, you also have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I'm sure most people by now are pretty used to Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It works very well, and the integration is just absolutely seamless. It's also worth noting that it's wireless Apple CarPlay in all BMWs, which is a big plus. Your climate control, again, this is just another shortcut for getting to your climate control menu. Looks exactly the same as it does from the shortcut down at the bottom there. There's a couple that I'm not going to go through everything because honestly they're a little boring, but the data privacy, legal information, things like that. Your displays, this one is going to be for a lot of the more kind of customizable settings for these screens. So for instance, your brightness settings, if you just want the screen off altogether, a lot of people like that as they're driving around if they don't want it getting kind of too intrusive. And you can also adjust what shows up in the instrument cluster as well. You could do that through the buttons on the steering wheel also, but just another option for what's ever easiest. You can go through, pick some stuff for that. Your driving settings, this is going to be for all of your driver assistance features. So for instance, your lane departure warnings, deactivating the auto stop start buttons, iconic sounds, that's the engine noise kind of put in through the speakers, but we don't talk about that one. And then other things like the drive off support, like if you're in bad traction, it'll help you kind of get a good launcher, kind of get you out of a mild kind of hole in the ground. Your My Modes, this is going to be for all of your different driving modes. There are quite a few in these cars. It's always going to start off in what they call personal, which is just kind of whatever settings that you like. It's always going to start in that mode. Of course, you have a sport mode on here, efficient for eco driving. Then you have wilder ones like expressive. I don't know if you can hear, but the sunroof is opening now. It's changing all the ambient light colors. This one is just, I think it's supposed to make you kind of wake up in the morning, I think is BMW's philosophy on that. Not so sure if that works, but hey, good for trying. Now, digital art is a really interesting one. You'd say, what kind of mode is digital art? Well, it changes all of the ambient lighting. It's all purple now. You get these cool graphics on the screen. Also, your instrument cluster has also changed to a kind of purpley magenta kind of theme. And then it even has a kind of audio guide that tells you more about it. I'm not going to play it right now because it's a little long, but it's interesting. It's interesting. Into the next row, you got exterior lighting. This is for turning on and off your daytime running lights, your welcome lights when you open up the car, your headlight where they go up and down the farther you look, so you can adjust that. I'm not sure really why you would, but it's a BMW. You can adjust everything. Turning on and off your parking lights, and of course your settings for your pathway lighting, all of that kind of stuff. Media, of course, this is going to be for your radio, for your music, for Bluetooth, anything you can imagine. Again, it's all going to go through media there. Mobile devices is for adding or deleting all their Bluetooth devices, so if you want to hook up to Apple CarPlay, this is the menu you'd go in to do that, and you can also use the car as a Wi-Fi hotspot also. Notifications, now this one, every time that you see this little white bar on the top of the screen, if you swipe down on it, this is where you're going to see a lot of your notifications and also where you add shortcuts to the car. To add shortcuts, you can either click on the add shortcut button, or if you just hold down on any of the icons on the screen, it'll always give you the option to add a shortcut where it'll load up right into your shortcuts in the notifications panel. So for instance, I always set my home address as one, put my work address as another one, maybe put Bluetooth audio on another one. If you remember back in the day in old BMWs, like 2022 BMWs, but they would have a row of 8 buttons that said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, this is kind of the new interpretation of that. Personally, I would love those 8 buttons back, but we're in a whole new generation. But anyway, that's where your notifications and where your shortcuts will live. Next up, everyone's favorite, the first thing people always adjust in the car for the interior lighting, that's going to be all of your ambient light colors. You've got a ton to choose from in these cars. Well, let's go lavender, why not? Always cool. Who doesn't want purple lights inside their car? I certainly do. And the lighting effects, so one of the nice things that they do is that back in the day they would always have these big reflectors on the inside of every door panel. Well, now using the ambient lighting whenever the car's running or in drive, and you open up the door, the ambient lighting on the door is going to start flashing red to alert other people that the door is open and to not run into you. Let's see what else we got in here. The open source compliance, I'm not going to go into that one, more legal stuff. And now the owner's manual, something that a lot of people would probably brush right past, but it has actually a ton of useful information. My favorite being the animations in these cars. They've had them for quite a while, but they're just super useful. These cars are filled with so much technology that it is very, very hard to understand every single particular part of what these cars are doing. But BMW is helping you out, and they're giving you little videos for a lot of the more advanced features of these cars. So for instance, the automated parking or the adaptive cruise control, just little videos to help you learn those features, how they work with your car, what kind of warnings you're going to get or messages or things like that, to let you know how to use these features properly. Now for the parking cameras, this one only has the backup camera on it, but it is an option to get the surround view cameras on basically all of our models now. So for instance, with the backup camera, you have your rear view camera button. It'll also show your parking sensors around you, or it'll help you with the backup assistant where it'll back you out of a tight parking spot. You can also get different kind of views on here. And then my favorite feature that they've added here, something that I really wish that my car has, is with the cameras, if you click on the more panel there, you have a camera cleaning. So there's little nozzles in the backup camera, for instance, on this car, and say it's snowing, which it is outside, and the camera is all covered in ice or snow or road salt, you can just hit the camera cleaning button and it will spray that little nozzle, fill it up with water, and give you a clear view behind you. Every single car should have this feature. This is fantastic. I absolutely love it. Wish it had it in my car. I want to know how to put it on my car. Up next, seat comfort. This is more for saving your seat settings or going into things like the comfort exit, where whenever you put the car in park and open up the door, it'll slide the seat back to make ingress and egress easier. Using big words there. Good job, John. And then again, those seat positions are all saved to your BMW ID. So again, no matter what car you get into, if you get in a friend's X2, you put in your BMW ID, it's going to go to exactly the seat position that was saved in your car. Other things in here, the sound, this is for adjusting the speakers and the bass level, all that kind of stuff. Everyone's pretty used to these things. System settings, this is for your kind of most general settings in the car, like saving the time or the language, things like that. Telephone, pretty self-explanatory, but for making calls. Your vehicle status, this one is more for kind of servicing in the car, so it'll let you know your tire pressures, your engine oil level. If you have any warning lights, it'll tell you more about that. And then you can also schedule services directly through the car as well, which is just super cool. Of course, it'll give you warnings whenever you're up for oil changes like that. Wi-Fi for activating the Wi-Fi hotspot. Next up, we have Amazon Alexa, which is just a third version of voice recognition software. So whether you want to use BMW's personal assistant or Siri or Amazon Alexa, you have your choice. Basically, any robot you want to talk to, you could do it through your BMW. Weather, always a very useful one. I have this one saved in my home screen as well, but it'll give you weather updates. They're usually pretty accurate too. Say for instance right now, it says it's snowing, and it is snowing, unfortunately. Doors and windows, this is for whether you're getting in the car, if you wanted to unlock just the driver's door, all of the doors, things like that. If you wanted to unlock as you walk up to the car, lock as you walk away, all those kind of things, turning on and off the alarms, things like that, and choosing how high you want the tailgate to open. Again, just settings and customizability and configurations for everything. Now keys, again, this goes along with your BMW ID. So all of your settings are also matched to a key. So you always want to make sure you keep using the same key. Otherwise you're going to get in your car and your seat's going to be in a weird spot and all of your radio presets and all that stuff is gone. So always use the same key because that is going to be linked to your driver's profile and your BMW ID. You also get a little key card whenever you get these cars. It's called the digital key. Now you can activate this little key card and then that will work as another key fob for the car. You just touch it to the driver's door handle, it'll unlock the car, you can put it in the wireless charger, it'll start up the car, and then it will allow you to use a key without actually having a key fob on you. So if you're going out and doing some activity and you don't want to have your expensive key fob in your pocket, then you just bring along your little credit card key and then you're able to do stuff. You don't really have to worry about it getting wet or things like that, and you'll be able to use all the functions of your car. Next up, BMW messages. This is going to be for like service messages and things like that. Again, for saying, hey, you have an oil change in 1,200 miles. Stuff like that. That's all going to show up in BMW messages. Now, your service center. Now, whatever dealership sells your car, that is going to be what's linked in the system. And again, Patrick BMW, reach out to us for any sales, service, or parts needs. But your service center, it's going to be linked obviously to here because that is where the car is being sold, and it'll automatically give you guidance directions to that particular dealership. BMW Maps is just another shortcut to get to our regular maps. BMW Assist, this is for your roadside assistance. So if you're ever in any kind of emergency situation, you can call them. They'll happily be able to help you out. Air console games, this is a brand new one and one of the coolest. Now, this is going to take a second to load up in the car. They've just put these on in the last couple months. It was just updated into a lot of these new models. But say, for instance, you're sitting waiting to pick somebody up and you got to kill like 15 minutes somehow. Well, you can go into here and you can actually use your phone as the controller and play a whole bunch of games. Like they got racing games that kind of look like Mario Kart on here. Just a whole bunch of cool stuff. Obviously, you can't do this while you're driving, but obviously awesome to use and something that I would definitely spend probably way too much time on. And then video. radio. Again, talk about needing to kill some time. Well, again, say you're just hanging out in your car for whatever reason, no judgments. You have a new video app that, again, they've just added to these vehicles where it brings up TiVo, and then you can watch shows on streaming all for free inside your car. So you can hook it up to any other subscriptions that you have, but for instance, all of your new favorite shows are all going to be loaded up on here, and if you want to find one, you can watch it right through the screen. So if you want to have a movie night in your car, you can absolutely do that. But as you can see, they've just got a ton of variety in here. They did just a great job giving you all this stuff, and these are going to be updated very, very frequently over the air. My highlights, this is for, again, just kind of looking for software updates and things like that. Not exactly sure why they added another one for this, but they did. Then you have radio for, again, going into all of your kind of media for AM, FM stations, and then you have a dedicated Sirius XM app in the car as well. So as you can see, just tons and tons and tons of features in these cars. Like I've said multiple times, no one uses every single thing in here, but if there is a feature that you want to use in your BMW, it's got it. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have any needs for parts, sales, or service, please contact Patrick BMW. The information for that is down below. We'll be happy to help you with anything you could need. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Have a great day.